people going to think of our new buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
It's Brad Atwell back on WCOU Sports with Ask the Coach, Coach Jeff Griffith of the Barron County Trojans. And again, after the show, if you would like to check out our podcast with game film, you can go to watchwcou.com or just go to wcouradio.com and click on the video link. And again, we want to thank McDonald's of Glasgow for sponsoring Ask the Coach with game film. And we thank them each week for sponsoring the show. Coach Griffith, looking ahead down the road, we've already talked just a little bit, but you know, the next game we play in 2 weeks, we travel down to Bowling Green to play the Purples. That you know, we've already talked about. It's a very good team. I think they're 6-1, and their only loss so far is to a real good St. X team. I think they traveled to Louisville up there, and St. X won that game, but you know, like we talked about before, being able to come out and compete is what we want to be able to do. And you know, just how do we get ready for Bowling Green?
Well, I think you just got to go in and understand that they put their pants on just like we do, you know, one leg at a time, and you know, you just got to get over that mental hump of it. Obviously, they've got really good players and a really good team and program, and they have for many years, and that's not going to change anytime soon. You know, I think, you know, they did lose to St. X, and you know, it can happen to anyone. I think if you read about what went on with their game, they had turnovers, they had they screwed around in the kicking game and gave up a couple of kick returns, and when you do that against another good team, that's the result you're going to get. And of course, if we'll go down there and compete and not turn the ball over and be good in the kicking game, then we'll keep it competitive. And you know, that's the main thing I wanted to get out of this game. I want our kids to go down there and compete, play against, you know, the top 5A program in the state, and you know, and come out of it healthy. Those are the main things that we want. Absolutely.
I don't want to just continue to beat a dead horse, but you know, there again, you know, you alluded to the kicking game, and last night, you know, the game really wasn't as bad as the score showed that game was. But when you have mistakes like that in the kicking game, and you break a 60-some yard return, you defensively, that gets in your head. Offensively, you know, we never quit competing either way. I mean, I thought our boys still competed. You know, we missed tackles, those kind of things. But the thing about it is that changes the football game totally, because it gets your mind in, man, we have messed up again. And a lot of times we want to point it at one person, but what we need to realize is, hey guys, we're a team, and we've got to continue to compete as a team. No matter what happens on that field, we can't single out one guy. We've got to get together, and we've got to continue to push so we can win this football game.
Yeah, I mean, I think last night, I mean, we were fighting our tails off. Of course, we'd given up the opening kickoff, and that was a big play. And we drive down and score, so it's 7-7, and we're competing. And then the first play they get it on offense, they go 75 yards on a pitch where we missed a couple of tackles, and so we're like, here we go. And then all of a sudden, you know, we had our kicking game blunders in terms of not fielding some kickoffs, and you blink and there's 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, and it's gone from a competitive game, what you thought were going to fight their tails off, to it's 28-7 because of some mistakes, and for all intents and purposes, the game's over. You know, because, you know, they're going to continue to do their stuff, and we're going, you know, unless they just really screw up themselves. I mean, it was a weird game last night in a lot of ways, and you know, give Greenwood credit, they took advantage of every mistake that we made, and that's what good teams do. Sure. And you know, we've got to avoid those things, because we can't. No team's going to overcome those. If you don't think so, look around the state at some of the scores, and you'll usually see it's the team who makes the least mistakes is usually the one that wins football games.
Turnovers kill you. Mm-hmm. And what's happened this year so far to us is when we've turned the football over, the team we're playing has taken advantage of that. And when we've gotten turnovers, it seemed like we've just kind of had our feet in the mud. So we've got to capitalize when we get the football, and we've got to protect the football. Whether it's a kicking game, whether it's a throwing the football, an interception, whether it's a handoff that's fumbled, no matter what it is, on the kicking game or whatever, we have got to take care of the football in order to be competitive.
We do. The strange thing is that offensively last night, I don't think either team had a turnover.
I don't think so. And as wet as it was, I figured
it
was going to be awful.
I mean, I think we had one fumble that we got back on, but and maybe they had one that they got back on. But other than that, the offenses took care of the football for the most part. It was our breakdowns in the kicking game and fumbling some kickoffs or not fielding them and giving up some kickoff returns, giving up the kickoff return, but. You're right. It comes down to taking care of the football, whether it's in the kicking game or offensively. And again, offensively, we took care of the football, but we just really that goes. There's 3 phases of the game, and we really lost our way in the kicking game last night.
Yeah. And we had talked about the last few weeks that our special teams had actually played pretty well. And penalty wise last night, I think we only had 1 penalty for 15 yards. So that's good. But when that 15-yard penalty came, it absolutely killed us because were just able to stretch the field on them. We were down inside the red zone, and it took us, I think, from inside the 20, back to about midfield.
It did. Those are just things that we can't do. And that penalty occurred 20 yards behind the play, and we just can't do those type things. And the game was out of reach at that point, but at the same time, that's just a discipline thing, and we can't lose our discipline and make a silly penalty like that. You're going to get some penalties every now and then, but we don't need to be getting the kind that are 20 yards behind the play and that are just needless to get. And so, we still have some growing to do in that area, and we'll continue to work on it. And I thought it was better last night. We didn't have many penalties, as you said, but, I think the other side of that coin is the referees didn't want to throw many flags. And I like it that way, too. I mean, sure. I just let us play. And that goes for both teams. Let both teams play and let the players, determine the outcome. And that's just some obvious stuff that needs to be called. And I think that's the kind of officiated game I like to see.
Sure. And the quicker the game gets over, the quicker them boys get out of that rain. So, you throw a flag, it stops the clock. It was, hopefully, like I said, this game's behind us. We've got games to look forward to. We've got Bowling Green to look forward to. Here in a couple of weeks, and then after that you would travel over to Grayson County, and then our final game of the season we'll come back home and play Edmonson County, and so folks, what we want you to do is we want you to continue to come out. We want you to continue to support our Barron County Trojans and Coach Jeff Griffith and those guys, and encourage them. Last night was a rough one. We're going to come back, like I said, and play a really good Bowling Green team. And, we need to go. We need to compete, Coach. That's the thing. We just need to keep competing. And, folks, we want you to come out and support our guys. It's going to be 2 weeks before we're back. Travel down to Bowling Green. And I want you to come down and be a part of that and support our guys. Coach, we want to thank you for coming in this morning and talking to us on Ask the Coach. And I think we need to do a call-in show one of these days, and we'll just have to talk. We'll just have to talk to Wes about that. But it's always great to be in studio with you, and appreciate you taking time to share with us this morning.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, folks. Again, Ask the Coach with Coach Jeff Griffith, the Barron County Trojans, here on WCOU Sports. And if you would like to catch the podcast with game film after the show, you can go online at watchwcou.com or go to wcou.com and click on the video link. And again, we want to thank McDonald's of Glasgow for sponsoring Ask the Coach podcast with game film. Folks, we're going to take a week off next week, and we'll be back on the radio in 2 weeks on Saturday morning after the Barron County Trojans travel down and play the Bowling Green Purples. Until then, folks, we hope that you have a safe week during fall break, and come back and support your Trojans in 2 weeks down at Bowling Green.